Hello everyone, welcome again to the channel. Today I want to share with you some stories about Asia. So the first one is about this report that there was an interaction with a Chinese fighter jet. Says Chinese fighter jet had unsafe interaction with US military plane in June. According to this, the incident was not previously reported and it was involved a Chinese Su-30 and a US C-130. So a C-130 is like this plane that you see here in the photo. So basically is what the United States is doing regularly. They are doing this so-called freedom of navigation operations, where they unilaterally decide to deny a specific territorial claim, particularly over the South China Sea, and they challenge these claims, and they do it flying planes exactly in the areas where the claim is made, and they do this in a very aggressive way. They are basically invading the airspace of China, but because they decided that it's not their airspace, when the Chinese fighter comes and communicates with the vessel, they claim that we are performing a freedom of navigation operation, were some immune vessel or were some immune airplane, and then sometimes Chinese fighters do things that they consider aggressive. They say aggressive military actions by Chinese pilots. And the United States is not the only one who is doing this. It's also Australia and Canada, for different reasons, for different excuses, but all is the same basic result. And then they say we have seen an alarming increase in the number of unsafe aerial intercepts and confrontation at sea, but by PLA aircraft and vessels. So this is also in the sea, not only with the airplanes. And they describe some specific events, and you see it is also Canada doing it, but Canada is doing with the excuse of monitoring North Korean activity. And that's the essence of it. And you see the statement from them. They say the United States will continue to fly and operate in accordance with international law and expect others to do the same. So this is just misleading, because they decide how to interpret international law, and then when the United States is doing it, it's okay, but if China is doing it, then China is being aggressive, Is just more hypocritical actions from the United States. That's what it is. And then they say this should worry us all. Who is all and who is us? Is Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. So he's talking about all his buddies, including Australia, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, Canada, all the NATO countries that continue to do this stupid behavior, provoking a reaction from China, and when an incident happens, then things could escalate beyond control. And it is my opinion that's what they are doing, even if it is reckless. I think that's what they want. They want to provoke a reaction from China. And there was this recent story says China considers lifting Australian coal ban fearing supply squeeze. So there is a ban on imported coal from Australia, from China, and they are considering canceling that. But then they say they want to avoid a repeat of the shortages once Western sanctions on Russian coal and oil enter into force. So I wasn't sure exactly how the Western sanctions will enter into force and will affect the supply. So I went to the source they cite in Bloomberg, and in Bloomberg they say that they are concerned that the European Union countries will start to try to find coal in other places, and they might want to start buying coal in the same places that China is buying, for example Indonesia. So that's the speculation. I don't know exactly too much the logic of this. I will think that if the European Union is refusing to buy Russian coal, there will be more supply rather than less, but that's the speculation. And I think anyway these bans or embargoes are done for political reasons, and I think the Chinese are very logical and practical, so if they think there's going to be a problem for their supply chain, they will start to lift this regardless. So yeah, that's kind of the logic they are saying. China is concerned that the EU ban on Russian coal would intensify a global run for non-Russian coal supply that could weaken China's purchasing power. And then I have this probably very valid question: why China is not offering to buy the coal from Russia? Is there a neighbor after all? I don't know, it's just one idea. And as I predicted, they continue to escalate defense budget in Japan, and they even did the unthinkable where they didn't put a ceiling. So there is no limit on how much Japan can spend in the military. So they want to invest basically in longer range missiles, cyber security research, and they say that Japanese voters fearing a slide into militarism have traditional big worry of big increases in defense spending. But because they are ratcheting up the tensions, they are saying that because of the events in Ukraine, China may want to attack Taiwan. So that's why they want to hike the defense spending to counter China's growing military might. So it's more of the same bullshit. They have different excuses for this. As you know, after the ex-Prime Minister Shinzo Abe was assassinated, his party got the majority, so they will get their way, and they will change the constitution of Japan to be a more militaristic constitution. As I mentioned in previous videos, this is an increase in nationalism in Japan, so it's a bad sign, but it's a worldwide sign. Japan is not the only one. You can see this everywhere in the world, particularly in Europe. So that's all for now, and I want to remind you of the opportunity to support my work. in different platforms. I write the details for these platforms where you can support my work. For example, Wise. It is in the description for each of the video in whatever platform you are watching this video. For example, in BitChute there are different options and they are all integrated in the platform, so you can choose to do that if you want to. I also want to ask for your support in other ways. If you can like the video, share it in social media, and subscribe to the channel. Only about 20% of the people who watches my videos is subscribed, so that will really help my channels grow. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope to see you again very soon.